So amazing, and I would play it again and again and again and again.
Finally, after the third take, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, before we even get into the video, I don't have so many shout outs. I have so many shout outs to give on this video because when I tell you I get so much motivation, like I just love what I do. Like I feel like I just love it. You know, have you ever woke up and you just go to work and you just be like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this, because you love it and you know the answers to it and you know this is what you're gonna do. That's how I feel. And I get the inspiration and motivation from other people. Like, okay, my special shout outs, Mr. Height, I'm gonna give him a shout out. My mentor, Mr. Roberts, OMG, Mr. Gardner, Mr. Darby been with me since day one. Thank you, Mr. Darby. Mr. Rippy, the very first PBO that I seen, I was like, you know, I want to be just like him. Just like him when I make E4, E5, E6. Granted, I didn't put in my packet till I made Sergeant First Class. Mr. Sears, like the instructor, Mr. Sears, so much knowledge. Miss Rogers, I need to give Miss Rogers a shout out because for one, I was crying, y'all, like mentally having breakdowns, moments where I didn't feel like I had nobody. So Miss Rogers, thank you so much. People in the military go through real feelings, like real emotions. I had such a hard time once I graduated Watts because mentally I was, you know, wanting to upload new content and talk about certain things that happened in Watts, but I was always scared. So emotionally and mentally, I had moments and I recorded so many videos. Like I think I recorded like 5 videos and I would go back and watch them and I would delete all of them because I'm just like, well, who's gonna say something? Who's gonna see me? Who's gonna run into me? You know, I have had situations where people will come up and actually say, thank you so much, I seen you on YouTube, because this community, as far as like the military, is huge, but it's small as well. So in regards to mental awareness and mental health and all of that, and me dealing with what I went through in regards to taking my videos down and figuring out if I should upload more Army content or like this new Alorant message that came out, like I was scared. Like my career means everything to me. What I did and what I went through means everything to me. I am so passionate and I am always eager to learn. Like it was something that I learned in class about G Army, never knew about. And if you're a 92 Yankee watching this, or if you're a 920 Alpha watching this, guess what, y'all? When you go in G Army, you can create a web link under a favorites tab, like basically a folder. So for example, if you want to click on favorites and then add a folder, you can add a web link for ASIP, you can add a web link for eFlipple, you can add a web link for FMS Web, and all of that will be built in G Army. So let's just say you jump on another computer and you don't have your favorites tab because you're not at your computer. Just log into G Army and everything that you saved in G Army is right there in your favorites tab, in your folders, basically the SAP Easy Access menu. And I'm just learning every day. You know, when you become a warrant officer, you feel like you know everything, and that's why you got selected, because you have so much knowledge and you know so many things in regards to your job. But when you start running into people, for example, Mr. Sears, which I just told you about, and just Miss Jackson, you know, she's a role model of mine, and you start learning all of this stuff, it's just like, man, I thought I knew it all, and I really don't. Like, I am growing and learning every day, and I just wanted to give a special shout out to those individuals. And if I miss people, which I know I have, I will be shouting them out, or giving them a shout out in my upcoming videos. I will say that I would like to give a special shout out to my tats while I was in Watts, and my previous and my tats that I graduated with, because like I failed, and so I didn't graduate with my class. So I was with one class and I got inserted into another class. So I would like to say thank you to all the tats across the board, the ones that actually took the time to reach out to me and to have a conversation with me, pull me to the side, because it meant a lot. Like I said, I was mentally struggling. Like I was crying, like boo-hoo, freaking crying, and I'm 35. And I'm just like, man, like I've never went through failing something in my life. And then on top of that, I'm getting a 3rd degree about my videos, which, you know, like I said, my intentions are always to just give help, okay?
And I finally finally came to a conclusion.
So enough about that. I am basically here to tell you all about relationships. This is what this video is about. I went on a whole rampage about, you know, giving shout outs and mental awareness and mental health and all of that. So the video today will be about relationships, building relationships, what to do, what not to do, and just be careful and mindful that certain things can either help you or hurt you, depending on the relationship that you have with someone or that you chose not to have with someone. Okay, so that's what today's video will be about. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns, please leave them in the description box below. And if you want to ask me any questions, DM me on Instagram at AmeliaG5587. Now, if you are not following me on Instagram, I might not receive your message. And so I might not see your message. And that's, you know, I guess Instagram has it set up to where if you're not following someone, you can't send them a message. I mean, well, you can, but it'll go in another inbox. And I don't be on that inbox like that. Like I might check it once a week, once every 2 weeks, and then the message will be sitting in that inbox for like 2 or 3 days until I actually look at it to respond to you. So if you send me a message on Instagram and you're not following me, I might not get it right away, and just give me, you know, time to, you know, look at it. Or if, you know, you feel like it's something that needs to get answered right away, then I would say your best bet is Outlook or Teams. But you can follow me on Instagram. I mean, you really can. It's not that, you know, I need friends. I need you. You need me. I will follow you back, okay? But enough about social media. I'll leave all of that information in the description box below, okay? So for all my E1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, all of y'all, I'm going to give y'all a scenario. Back in the day when I was coming up, I was a brand new private. I went to my first unit, and I have always been a nice person. I have always been an approachable person. I have always asked for help. And I have been running into, because I went from E1 all the way up to E7, and now I'm a warrant. And I have run across so many people, commanders, like even when the unit that I'm in now, I met a major that I was working with that was a captain at the time. I have been at units where I was a specialist, and that person might have been an E7, they retired, and now they have a civilian job, and I done ran into them via Facebook, you know, Outlook, you know, asking questions through the G Army help desk ticket. XOs. And you know, if we are 92 Yankees, a lot of the times we get frustrated with our XOs. We get irritated with them because they don't know what they're talking about. You know, they'll come to us and be like, well, can't you do this, and can't you do that, and can't you do that? No, I can't. Like, that's not my job. Like, you do, like, go ask somebody else to do it. First of all, I answer to the commander. That's who I work for. That's my rater. And it's just like, instead of being mean to the XO, you know, talk to them, pull them to the side. And then another thing is too, the platoon sergeant. The platoon sergeant be like, well, because you're supposed to let me know this, and I'm putting you on a detail because of that. No, you're not going to put me on no detail, because why am I doing it? I work for the commander. You do, but guess what? You still have to report to the platoon sergeant, so don't get that platoon sergeant no attitude. That might be your future sergeant major. You might end up being in a S4 shop, or, you know, and that's the sergeant major, and you're going to be looking like, you might get out of the military one day, and you trying to look for a job, apply for a job, and you on USA Jobs, and it just so happens that the person that you was mean to back in the day is now retired. They basically a supervisor over the job that you're applying for, and they gonna see your name and you ain't gonna get the job. Now, I'm not saying this from personal experience, because that hasn't happened to me, because I'm still in, for one. And for two, everybody that I have ran across that I was going through the ranks of E1 through E7 that I have ran across, it's just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe. It's just like, remember when? That's how the conversation. Remember when this, and remember when we, and remember, oh my God, I cannot believe you stationed here. Oh, we're in class together. Remember when we, it's just like, the military is large and huge, but it's so freaking small, y'all. Like, be careful how you treat people. Be careful how you talk to people. Mentally, people are going through personal issues, or how they was raised, how they grew up. You know, you just never know. You know, one day, you know, you might hear about somebody being in a car accident, and you be like, oh my God, I just seen a soldier the other day and I was mean to him. Like, I was basically had a whole full-blown attitude with him. Like, but why? Like, why is it that serious? Like, what if somebody treated you like that? And then, you know, when you go to places like ALC, SLC, and you see other people that you probably went through the ranks with, and you looking at them with a full-blown attitude because you didn't like them back then and you don't like them now because y'all felt like y'all was competing with each other. But why? Have a relationship. You gonna need that person. You might not see it now, but you might need that person. Like I was saying, I have never been through this situation, but based off of the class that I am now, it is very relevant. It is very important that you build relationships with people because the community is so freaking small, y'all. Like, I kid you not. I have ran into, over this past year, I have ran into like 5 different people that I have worked with previously, or people I went to school with, and I'm just like, you cannot be serious. Like, I feel like I'm getting old to the point where, like, if somebody say something to me because they see me on YouTube, I'm just like, oh, hey. And they be like, well, Miss Ford, remember when we was this and what? And I was just like, oh my God, yes, I remember. Like, what are you doing here? So to make this video short, because, you know, I was long-winded in the beginning, the point behind this video is to make sure you build relationships, keep people's contact information, you know, build a spreadsheet and make continuity for POCs that you have. You never know when you're going to need that person, when you're going to need to ask them questions. They might be in the military. They end up getting out being a civilian. They might have a connect. You know, they might be able to help you out with whatever the case may be. If you need a letter of recommendation, if you need a character witness memo, which I don't recommend. Nothing against people that need it. Like, I love y'all to death, but y'all should have thought about that stuff before y'all did it. Like, consequences suck. You know what I'm saying? But building relationships, like I said, or, you know, putting the contact information on OneNote or whatever the case may be. But just be mindful of how you treat people, and then just be careful of relationships that you might burn or hurt or break, or, you know, because you might be mean to that person. So you just never know when you're going to run into them again. Like, the community is big again, but it is small. So, but the overall gist of this video was basically to let you all know how important relationships are, how they matter, how you need to build relationships with others, because you might need to reach out to them. You might need to ask them questions. You never know when you might need them again in the future. You just never know. Building relationships are very important. And I see that now while going to school. I've always, like I said, I've always been the type of person where I'm nice. I'm trying to help somebody out. So I've never really had an attitude or gave like my ITSOs like no crap or attitude or nothing like that. I might have been frustrated a lot because I felt like they just didn't know what they were talking about, but I was not mean to them, or I didn't, you know, just brush them off my shoulder and tell them to, you know, leave me alone or whatever the case may be, because those lieutenants and, you know, they're going to make major, they're going to make lieutenant colonel, and you're going to have to answer to them, and they're going to already know who you are. So just be mindful of that. Okay, you guys, until next time. This is Amelia Talks. Let's talk about it. Peace.